So episode 3 on its way. It's looking good. Really enjoying actually making them after doing all the work. Sorry, the curtain behind me is patio doors, and one of them's open, and this is why I'm wrapped up so warm. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and Kitty just likes to go out and wander around. It's dry outside, but it's cold. It's about I think she thought I was going to shut the door. It's about 10 degrees, probably less in the wind chill. What are you doing? Can I have that shut? Thank you. There we go. Sorry, threw me already. Love my allotment diary, love my cat. So we're on to episode 3. Back in August, it was still blistering. I mean, that heat wave went on and on and on. And in fact, we are just entered November, and we're still hitting 14 to 15 degrees during the actual day. And we've had like maybe 4 or 5 days of hard rain scattered around in the last like 4 weeks, but it's still seasonally very warm. Although I am told, and looking at the weather forecast, that's going to change. It's going to get colder at nights, and we're going to start seeing less and less of these warmer days, which is sad. The days are very short at the moment in November, but let's go back to August and we'll see how we're doing. As always, please can you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and talk to me in the comments, and tell me a bit about your allotments experiences. One thing that somebody was chatting to me about the other day is spin-offs. Not just the allotment diary, but a lot of people tend to make one-offs, and I've already been given a few ideas that somebody suggested. The first one is, obviously I've been through the experience of starting a new allotment, so what are my top 5 recommendations for people starting a new allotment? So look out for that spin-off video very soon. Excuse me. Environmentalism and the allotment, because if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I'm very keen on the environment, recycling, reusing, reducing. I've made a worm farm, which I might add to one of the videos later on, perhaps environmentalism and allotments. Veganism and allotments. What does it mean to be a vegan and have an allotment? Yeah, lots of food, but what about fertilizers? What about manures? What about blood, replacements for blood, fish and bones, which of course is a staple, and so on and so forth. And all the things I've bought, has it been worth what I'm getting out of the allotment? Will it be worth all this investment? Am I doing it for the food? Okay, so lots to think about there, lots of spin-offs. Do look out for them. Click notify and you'll get lots of recommendations of the things I'm uploading. Let's get into the videos.
Wow, 26 degrees and the time is 10:22, so 2 hours 20 minutes, and that portion is dug. And the weeds have got out. Let's have a look. Usual collection of perennials, and there's some dock, lots of deadly nightshade of course, and bindweed. There we go, look, there's the bindweed, that lovely white strand in a second, and of course bindweed, evil. There's a bit of bindweed there that I missed. Gosh, look. Evil, evil. Die. Of course, you don't want to put this on your compost. You want to burn it or bag it for a couple of years. Seal it off, no oxygen, no light. And it will eventually turn to mush. So I'll rake that another time. And then that'll probably be the bed I use for things this year. Might put some cauliflower and stuff in part of it, and I might put brassicas. Sorry, that is brassica. I might put legumes in these beds, and but I have some stuff to sort out, and I'll show you why. I need to research and do some checking, and I'll show you why later on. But that's all the digging for me today. This afternoon I might come back and do some burning, as the heavy rain would have damped things down. There's an awful lot of dead wood and perennial weeds lying around, and they could all do with, oh, look at that cricket. Grasshopper. Of course, most of you are too young to actually know what I mean there. Yeah, so get rid of a lot of this, burn it all off, and small amounts but steady. Okay, I'll see you later. Yeah, it's coming on. So Friday afternoon, still day 4 I think of actually working on the allotment. Interesting, I did that, dug that part at the end earlier this morning, as you know, and I've come back down to actually investigate something. Let me just show you what I found. So point you down and let me show you. So what I'm doing is actually just pushing the fork in, and that's it. That's as far as that fork is going. Definitely compacted underneath. And let's actually show you why. Let's have a look down here. If you can see inside this hole, there's a whole layer, an infrastructure of roots and compacted soil, stones. It really is a nightmare down here. So, not good. This is why people are saying that this plot is probably one of the hardest to actually deal with. It's because it's just going to be like this. This is what it's like underneath the surface. Let me show you from a distance. So, turning around, walking back to the top of the plot. I'm trying to explain what I can see. If you stand at the gate here, you can see the allotment site. This centre path or roadway or furrow there gradually rises from where we are, and where that weedy plot is, number 3A, that's probably one of the highest points. It levels out there for the rest of that allotment, but this part here dips, and obviously the lowest point is at the pond there, but definitely dips into the centre, and the lowest point is just around that grassy bank there and that bed there, very low compared with these other allotments. So we have got a real problem. Now, I've actually walked around and stuck my fork in everybody else's, and the fork goes all the way down. In fact, if I pushed it further, you can actually push it underneath the surface. So there is most definitely an issue with this allotment, but we will persevere. Now, if you actually look, I mean, you get an idea of perseverance here. You see how the bank here dips and then dips again down. These people on this allotment have been digging years and years and years, and they've overcome the issue of having not as much earth as people on that side who are obviously much better off. So what can we do? Well, we can manage the ground. Some parts of the soil, for instance in this corner, are quite deep. The fork will go down right to the top, and that will give us a good 12, maybe 14 inches of soil. Over on this side it's probably even better, but of course it's not being utilised. We will sort that. And if you look, places like here are underutilised, so we can just manage how we seed and what we seed places. Obviously roots aren't going to have much fun here. Brassicas, legumes, squashes, not a problem. So how, and obviously things like soft fruit, strawberries and stuff. So how are we going to overcome this long term? Well, we'll just have to weigh the options. We could do raised beds, maybe, on some of the parts where we don't have as much soil depth. One way would be to no dig it, lay cardboard down each year, pile on a fresh load of compost each year. Expensive to start, but once you've got your own composting going, not a problem really. We could actually just lay those beds to soft fruit where the fork is there sticking out. We could just lay that to soft fruit and just rotate around this portion up here. I mean, it's not as though I'm going to do a ton of really deep, needy vegetables anyway. I'm not a potato eater per se, but we'll see. Let's get the first crops in, get the first year done and see what grows and what doesn't grow, and we'll get to know the land as we go along. But yeah, interesting to see that it's so shallow before it compacts. No wonder people complain about this plot. And of course you couldn't have chosen a worst place to start your garden. Obviously the previous people, I hadn't planted anything here, this is the previous people. I'm not blaming them at all, you know. I'm not actually casting any dispersions on what they've done, because the amount of digging that they've done here is incredible. That was so well dug out. I sailed through that area in 2 hours. It was really and it's beautifully dug out, very fine tilth. So they've done a really cracking job. But why start on this area? Maybe they had potatoes or something in that area which they dug out. I don't know. We'll see. Beautiful Saturday morning, 21 degrees. At a peak it says it's only 13 degrees now, although with the sun out it does actually feel very comfortable. Sorry about the road traffic behind you. I suppose everybody's going off to do their weekly shop. Yeah, I'm going to dig another section of the plot today, see how we get on with that, and we'll talk about what's going to happen next, what Katie did next. Right, see you soon. About halfway through that section. I'm going to have a rest, little and often. Got to know your limits when you do this type of thing. And not many weeds coming out, which is great, just turning over a fine tooth. No worms, not a single worm. Now, I'd hate to think that a soil that fine and with such a lovely tithe and texture would have no, what's the word, vermiculture? No worms. So I'm hoping it's just that it's been such a dry summer that people, the worm people have burrowed away deeper down to find more moisture. So we'll see. Now I'm going to have a little rest. One of my neighbours has got a little chair underneath the apple tree. So I am going to sit and have a sip of water, keep hydrated and look out on the world. Hope you won't mind. Here we go. This is me under the apple tree. My one fear is that this apple tree is so laden with bramleys, I believe they are, cookers, that I'm going to get throttled and or head stove in by a ton of apples dropping on my head during the with the wind and the breeze. But there we go. So this is my neighbour's plot here, and he keeps it beautiful. Look, absolutely organised. He's grown lovely flowers at the front. More cut flowers here by looks of it. Not sure what would have been. Is that some sort of potato plant that's been cut back? It doesn't look like potato. It's more like corn. Anyway, so raspberries, onions gone to seed, which is probably deliberate. Probably selected a few big ones and just let them go to seed to grab the seed art for the following year. People really know how to use their allotments in this part of the world. They really do. He has a lovely insect house there, and there was a pile of bricks. There it is. There we go. There's another one, and again that would be for insects to come and hide in. It looks like it needs a bit of repair at the moment. So yeah, the next lot is actually taken, but person hasn't been back to it, so it might be they'll be getting that letter from the local council saying cease and desist. So there's my plot in the background against that road there. There's the pond behind the bin, and over there is the fence to the main road. That's why it's so busy up here. Not very peaceful, but you find inner peace, don't you? And this is my empire, really, you know, my plot of the world that I can say, I did this. Well, I'm exhausted, but I'm happy to say that section is now done. Now all I need to do now is go back and put in the right paths, because the path, I believe, finishes about there, so still quite a way to go, and it goes all the way back to this bank here. So, you know, and that's probably the best soil. It's probably the deepest there. Look at it, that's 1.5 meters to that bank. However, I was just moving all these perennials over to a makeshift perennial dump. Really don't know what I'm going to do with all these perennials. I think the only thing to do is just put them to one side and burn them. But I was just moving them and I stopped because I have a friend. And I've lost him. There he is. No. Where is he? Did he go back under? Yeah, there was a little toad or frog. I don't know what happened to him. I don't want to disturb him too much. But I'm going to have to move these weeds. Yeah, he's gone. Oh, okay. Alright, I won't disturb him. But yeah, I'll leave him to have a munch on whatever he's munching in amongst these weeds. And then I'll move all this lot another day. It's just beginning to spit with rain. I timed that to perfection. Now, I've talked to more people, oh joy, and people that have been here a long time, and they say this, as far as they know, people have never really dug this. It's just been rotavated over, or a few years ago somebody brought in a tiny little tractor and just, you know, turned over the top foot. So I'm pretty sure that there's like a compacted surface, a fork distance down, It's beginning to spit a lot now. Mr. Toady, you will love it. So this compacted surface is going to make for interesting growing. Now technically some, you know, the proper root crops will grow into it. They're quite tough, but we'll see. And over here, of course, still to be done, still to be done, still to be done, still to be done, still to be done. But it looks as though rain's going to stop play for the rest of the day. It's coming in from the northeast. It's still nice and light cloud over there and blue sky over there, but as you see, that's the way the clouds are going. So northeast, that direction. You've blown my day. All right, 10 o'clock or 10:30. 3 hours later. Yeah, 2 hours. That's not bad. All that in 2 hours. I'm quite pleased. Little billion. All right, that's it for this morning. We'll see how the weather goes. So here we are, Saturday evening, down on the allotment. Wind's picking up, so if you get that in the video, I'll do a talk over later on. So one of the other plot holders has offered, oh look, horses, just gone, has offered some baby leeks for us to transplant. So I've drilled some holes. What have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, about 38 to 40 holes. So let's go and see these other ones. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a watering can, a container and a trowel, and I'll show you why. So here we are on the neighbour's plot, and there's the beautiful bunch of leeks that's been offered. So obviously I don't need all of them. I'm just going to take maybe 6 inches to 30 centimetres. I changed it there for the metric people. And we'll see. Oh no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak them to make them easier to get out of the ground, and just tease them out with a fork and put them in the plastic container I brought with me, which is, as you see, a recycled, reused takeaway container. Here we go. I won't film it. I haven't got a tripod with me, so you'll just have to hope that I do okay. So there we go. I've dropped the leeks inside the dibbed holes, and then I've just poured a little bit of water on top, and I'll keep doing that for a few days, and eventually the hole will fill up with fine silt, and that will hopefully give the leeks a good start. So our first planting, thanks to a kind neighbour, and we'll see how they get on. I'll label them up later on. I'm not sure of the brand or variety of these leeks, but we'll see. There's still plenty left, so I'm going to put another row in, and you know, I mean, gosh, how many did he plant? He must have planted hundreds. Alright, see how we get on. Alright, before I finish the day, I've come down to the pond. See, looking dark and gloomy with its runoff road water, but it's a pond. Old life will still happen. I've cleared the ivy off some of the trees, and hopefully it will die. Look at it though. That's decades of ivy growth up there. Gosh, the trees must be gasping. Look at it, strangling it. And that's true of this whole area. This ivy is incorrigible, just strangling everything. So I'm going to wage a war against the ivy. I'll get rid of a lot of it. You never get rid of it all, of course, but just like all weeds, it'll grow back. Apparently ivy can dig in the ground and grow 10 foot underground, its roots. But I've come to a theory. If you look at this, you've got the level of the allotment, and then it banks, reaches a peak under the ivy. I think that's probably 100 years of people on this plot slinging their weeds and stones and everything else on here. I mean, I found, if you look down here, look, there's bits of concrete and plastic. So I reckon all this belongs on my allotment. I claim it, it's mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all the ivy off it and try to actually make something of it. Maybe I can dig a lot of it out, because obviously the ivy roots in there are going to be astronomical, but maybe I can dig it out and sieve it, maybe put it on the compost heap. Maybe I can plant bulbs in there, wildflowers maybe. But there's a lot to get rid of. I'll clear it all, I'll get rid of it all, and then this pond area can breathe again. I mean, I'd love to get rid of the whole lot and just put poppies and wildflowers and spring bulbs and, you know, night scented stock to make the place actually smell attractive. Yeah, I appreciate what people say, you know, it's this is a haven for wildlife. There's bugs and ladybirds and things in here, but there'll be places for ladybirds and bugs even in a copsed area. They really would. I mean, you're probably looking at as much a centre for mice and voles and slugs and everything else. First things first though, we've got to finish the allotment. I hate carpet. I'm going to lay it all down there and find out how much carpet I've got. And then I'm going to offer it to some of the other allotment holders who seem to swear by it for making paths. So we'll see. I was given a couple of courgettes today, so the bartering has begun. And I was given some marrows off a compost pile. I think just overlarge courgettes really. And what I might do is mush those up and put them in the worm bin. Give them something to eat. I found a plastic bag. I'm gradually putting all the plastic off the plot in there, and I'll put it into the waste bin outside the local supermarket. But we have got things growing apart from the bushes at the top of the garden. We've got our first crops growing. Very kind donation of leeks. So we'll watch those over the next few weeks. There's still hundreds there. We'll see how we get on. Right, back home. It's still only 7 o'clock in the evening. A beautiful evening.
End of episode 3. We have our first crop, albeit donated leeks that are going to be in too late, considering the season. But you know, baby leeks, still as tender and lovely as anything else. So next episode we're going to be doing more clearing and more digging, but we're on our way. You know, it's been hard work up till now. The weather has been tremendously hot. You've seen me with grime and dirt. That you can see the soil, the tilth, not the tithe, the tilth is so fine that every time you put the fork in and dig out, it just floats everywhere. It covers you, gets up your nose. Gosh, yeah, it was hard work, especially with somebody with a heart condition, which is why I did like an hour or 2 hours and then went home and just relaxed. Know your limits, don't overdo it. Yeah, so episode 4 is going to be more of the same, more clearing, more discussion about the options. I mean, you can already hear my mind working on the choices, but you already have seen a little touch of the obsession about the pond starting. It gets a lot worse, I tell you. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and again, please like, subscribe, chat to me in the comments. I keep harping on about it, but it really is important to the people that make content on YouTube to get as many people to support them as possible. It doesn't cost anything, and it's really appreciated and very encouraging. So thank you very much indeed. See you in episode 4. Bye for now.